Here we go. So once again, we're going to continue with gross earnings. Question number one, Marley receives an annual salary of $37,000. What is her average biweekly income? Okay, they want to know what Marley would get paid every 2 weeks. Again, remember this is gross earnings. We're not considering any deductions. All I have to do for this question is take her $37,000 and I would divide it by what number? If she gets paid every 2 weeks, how many checks does she get in a year? That's semi-monthly. 24 would be semi-monthly. 26. Okay? So remember, 26 is biweekly, 24 semi-monthly, 12 monthly, weekly would be 52. And those are the types of pay frequencies we will encounter. What is 37,000 divided by 26? I've got $1,423 and we'll say 8 cents every 2 weeks. What is her average biweekly income? That's what Marley would get paid every 2 weeks. Everyone okay with question number one? Make sure that you know your pay frequencies. Weekly 52, biweekly 26, semi-monthly 24, monthly 12. Question two, Justin works a 20-hour work week. If his monthly income is $2,165, how much does Justin make per hour? All right. You got to figure out how many hours he works in a month. And this is one of those questions where I said they use the figure that I don't typically like. How many weeks are in a month? What did we say yesterday? 4.3 repeating, or 4.33. Okay? So if you wanted to know how many hours Justin works in 1 month, or in the average month, you would take 20 hours and you would multiply it by 4.33. Or we said 13 over 3. Okay, 20 times 4.33 equals 86.6. If you did the 20 times 13 over 3, I would go 20 times 13. That gives me 260 divided by 3. That gives me the 86.6 repeating. Okay? This would be more accurate. Now, how would I figure out his pay per hour? How much money did he make for the month? Can you see how much money he made in the month? $2,165. Thank you very much. And if I want to change that into an hourly rate, I'm going to divide it by 86.6, or 260 over 3. Okay? And what do I get if I divide 2165 by 86.6? Anyone have an answer? Roughly $25 an hour. Thank you very much. Okay. If you wanted to call this 260 over 3, remember 2165 divided by 260 over 3 would be the same as 2165. You keep the 2165, you change, you flip. Okay? And that would give you 2165 times 3, 6495, 6,495. Bottom by bottom, 1 times 260 is 260. 6495 divided by 260. There's my $24.98. So I'm not that far off by rounding, am I? That would represent $24.98 per hour. $25 an hour. Everyone okay with example number 2? We'll keep trucking along. We're into example number 3. So 2 more to go. Jonathan earns $17.89 per hour for regular hours of work. Jonathan works a 40-hour week and is paid time and a half for overtime. So that means if he works 41 hours, he would get paid 1 hour of overtime. And his overtime rate is more than his regular rate. So he doesn't just get $17.89 for his overtime hours. He would get $17.89 times how much? If it's time and a half. Anyone remember? $17.89 would get multiplied by 1.5, right? Let's look back to yesterday's example. For time and a half, you multiply by 1.5. Double time, you'd multiply by 2. Triple time, you'd multiply by 3. All right. So we'll go back to Jonathan. Here it is. What is his overtime rate of pay? So I need to figure out how much he would get paid for his overtime hours. To do that, I'm going to take the $17.89 and I'm going to multiply it by the 1.5. Does everyone know where the 1.5 is coming from? Time and a half. $17.89 per hour times 1.5. I'm getting $26.84. $26.84 per hour. All right. How do I do part B? How do I figure out his gross earnings? And again, you should make sure that you get this example down because this is what you have to do on your assignment. I need to figure out his gross earnings. So the first thing I'll do is his regular pay. I'm going to take $17.89 per hour, and I'm going to multiply it by what are considered regular hours. What does it say? For a 40-hour work week. So I'm going to multiply that by 40. And that's going to give me $17.89 times 40, $715.60. Now, step 2 is to figure out his OT pay. OT stands for what? Overtime. So what does he get paid for overtime hours? That's what we figured out in part A. $26.84. Wicked. That's per hour. I'm going to multiply that by how many overtime hours did he work? 5. If he worked 45 hours in total, 40 of them are regular hours, 5 of them are overtime hours. So 26.84 times 5 gives me $134.20. How do I figure out his gross earnings? So step 3 are his gross earnings. What do I do with these two numbers? Multiply them, subtract them, add them, divide them. Add them together. He's getting this much, 715.60 Andy's getting this much, 134.20. And I get $849.80. Okay, $849.80. That's how much Jonathan would get before deductions. That's his gross earnings. Couple things to make sure you're aware of. Where'd the 2684 come from? 1789 is regular hourly rate times 1.5 because it was time and a half. Where'd this 5 come from? 45 hours total minus the 40 regular hours, 5. These two numbers, 40 and 5, have to add up to the total number of hours worked. Okay, moving on. Question number 4. Brad works as a personal trainer. He charges $38 for a 1-hour session and $53.20 for a 90-minute session. Brad ran the following personal training sessions last week. Calculate his earnings for the week. So on Monday, he did a 1-hour session and 2 90-minute sessions. On Tuesday, he did a 1-hour session, 2 1-hour sessions, and no 90-minute sessions. On Thursday, he did a 1-hour session and 4 90-minute sessions. Friday, 2 1-hour sessions and 2 90-minute sessions. And on Saturday, he went gangbusters. He went all out. 5 1-hour sessions and 2 90-minute sessions. Okay. How do I figure out his earnings? Let's figure out his total 1-hour sessions. How many 1-hour sessions did he do in total? 1, 2, 1, 2, and 5. That's 11 total. How many 90-minute sessions did he do? 2, 4, 2, and 2. He did 10. So to figure out his gross earnings, I need to figure out, 1, what he made for the 1-hour sessions. How do I figure that out? I take 11 1-hour sessions and I multiply it by what? Is it the 53.20 or the 38? Would it make sense for him to charge more for the 1 hour than he does for the 90-minute? No, read carefully. He charges $38 for the 1-hour session. So I'm going to go 11 hours times $38. 11 38s, $418. Step 2, the 90-minute sessions. He did 10 of them, and this is where he charges the 53, was it 20 or 80? 53.20. And that's going to equal $532.00. What do I do to get his gross earnings? I'm going to add the 418 and the 532. I want his total pay. 418 and 532, that's $949.50. $950. Everyone cool with that? Brad would earn $950. All right, last example we're going to look at. This is just the solution to that, I assume. 418, 532, 950 total. We did it good. All right. we had 11 and 10. Awesome. Last one. Jennifer's pay stub. Calculator gross pay if she is paid $32.50 an hour for the first 40 hours and then double time. Okay. So first thing we got to do is figure out how many hours Jen works. So 7:45 to 3:30. Okay. It's nice to kind of round this up to an even number. So what's the first full hour if I do that? 7:45 if I add 15 minutes. That'll bring me to what? 8 a.m. 8 to 12 would be 4 hours. 12 to 3 would be 3 hours. So I'd have 7 hours total. And I have 15 minutes and 30 minutes. That's 45 minutes. If I want to change that to a total number of hours, do I do this? Is it 7.45? No, 45 minutes is how many hours? What is it? 0.75. I'm taking 45 and dividing by 60. That gives me the 0.75. Okay? 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. 3/4 is 75, or 0.75, sorry. 9:30. Okay? Let's go plus 30 minutes. That'll bring me to 10. And then I'm going to go to 4. All right? 10 to 12 would be 2. 12 to 4 would be 4. 2 and 4 is 6 hours. But I added 30 minutes. And here I'd add 45. What's 30 and 45 minutes? That's 75 minutes. What's 75 divided by 60? That's 1.25. So how many hours would this be in total? 6 hours and 1.25 hours. 7.25. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, if you want to just go 9:30 to 4:30, that's fine. Okay, look at 9:30 to 12:30 would be 3 hours, to 4:30 would be 4 more hours. So this would change to a 7. And then this would go to 15. 15 over 60 is 0.25. 7 plus 0.25 would be 7.25. That is perfectly fine. It's up to you. $9:45, I'm going to add 15 minutes. That's going to bring me to 10. And then I'll go 10 to 4:30. Okay, 10 to 12 is 2, 12 to 4 is 4, 2 and 4 are 6. And now I've got 50 minutes and 30 minutes, 15 minutes and 30 minutes. That's 45 minutes. 45 over 60 would be 0.75. So I'm at 6.75 total hours. You just used your fingers. 9:45 to 10:45, 1 hour. 11:45, 12:45, 1:45, 2:45, 3:45, 4:45. That'd be 7 full hours. But I actually didn't work to 4:45. I only worked to 4:30. So I'd have to subtract 15 minutes. So that would take me from a full hour. So I'm down to 6 full hours and 45 minutes. 7:15 to 1:15. This is great. Okay, 7:15 to 12:15 would be 5 hours. and then 115 is 1 full hour, 6 hours total. So 6 hours and 0 minutes is 6.0 hours. If I add 15 here, that's going to bring me to 9. 9 to 12 is 3. 12 to 5 is 5. 3 and 5 would be 8. But that's only going to 5. I'd have to add 15 and 15. That's 30 minutes. What's 30 over 60? It's half an hour. It's 8.5 hours. And then lastly, if I go plus 45, that brings me to 9. 9 to 12 is 3 hours. 12 to 2 is 2 hours. 3 and 2 are 5. But I have to add 45 minutes and 30 minutes. That's another 75 minutes. Calculations up here. 75 divided by 60 is 1.25. That gives me 6.25. Because 5 plus 1.25 is 6.25. You okay with that? How many hours in total did they work? That'd be 1, 2.5. And then this would be 14, 20, 26, 34, 40, and 2.5. I should end up with 42.5 hours total. Now that shouldn't say Sunday. Let's call this the total. Double check that. 7.75 plus 7.25 plus 6.75 plus 6 plus 8.5 plus 6.25, 42.5. Math is good. All right. He works 40 hours regular. How many overtime hours does he work? That's right. We're going to go 42.5 minus 40. That'll give us 2.5 hours of overtime. What's his OT rate of pay? What do I do to the 32.50 per hour? Why are you multiplying it by 2? Great choice. It's double time. That gives me $65 per hour. That's not bad. Okay. How do I figure out how much money Jennifer makes? Step 1 would be her regular pay. I need to use the 32.50, and I need to multiply that by 40 hours. So it's 32.50 per hour times 40 hours. That gives me $1,300. Step 2 is the overtime pay. Here I'm going to use the $65 or the double time, $65 per hour, and I'm only multiplying it by 2.5 hours. 65 times 2.5, 162.50. Step 3, how do I figure out the gross earnings? I add them together. So it's 1,300 plus 162.50 gives me 1,462.50. So Jennifer earned $1,462.50. Everyone okay with that? Okay, we'll stop the video. That's the examples for today. You guys can go to work on 1, do your assignment first, and then 2, finish up the worksheet. Okay?